Yeah, tonight we are going to talk about societal perception of ladies and single mothers. We want to look at how the society sees widows and single mothers. Okay? Now, both widows and single mothers face challenges. Okay? But they are often seen through different views. That's the way the society perceives the widow is not the same as the single moms are perceived. Now, the society wants to see the widow or expect the widow to remain in mourning all the days of her life. They don't want to see her happy. Yes, when I talk about society, I'm talking about the African society. I'm talking about the Nigerian society, right? Because this does not happen in the Western society. I'm talking of the African society. Now, they want to see the widow remain in perpetual mourning. They don't want her to look good. They don't want her to be happy. They always want to see her in what? In perpetual mourning. Mourning for her late husband. Okay? Now, they want to see her wear specific clothing, whether black or white, because that's the traditional clothes that people wear for mourning. They want to always see her in those clothes. If she dresses in any other way, than that, people begin to see her as, oh, she has not mourned enough for her husband, or maybe she started seeing another man. That's the way society perceives a widow, right? Now, the society also marginalizes a widow. They stigmatize a widow, usually restricted, excluded in social events. The family could have a social event and the widow is not aware of it. She's not invited and she doesn't even know that there is a social event. Why? Because they think she may not add value to that event. Yes, like for example, when my spouse was alive, you know, he used to be the chairman of my is it mine? Okay, his village, his village. He used to be their chairman out here in Port Harcourt, right? So every event that we go, of course, as he sits down, I'm sitting next to him, right? But after his demise, that was not the situation anymore. I didn't even know when they have events, not to talk of me going to sit on the table anymore. That was the end of that. You get what I mean? So that's the stigma I'm talking about. That's the exclusion that I'm talking about. So the widow, they face harmful traditional practices which she is expected, of course, to go through, sometimes in isolation, in marginalization, and in stigmas, right? So, widows, through the eye of the society, they are seen as people that should never remarry. A widow should not remarry. If you make an attempt at remarrying, they begin to see you as a different person. If you make an attempt at remarrying, they begin to see you as, oh, maybe she has a hand in the pie of her husband. That is why she's going to marry, which is not the same with the widowers. The widowers, in fact, are encouraged to marry as early as possible, but not so for the widow. The widows are often seen as weak and needy. Most times when a widow is seen coming, the mind of the next person is, probably she's coming to ask for something, which is not true. Which is not true. Yes, because the widow may not even, you know, want to ask anything from anybody. Maybe she's just going on her own. But because she's a widow, at her approach, somebody may just think that, she's coming to ask for something. It is not true. So the widow too is vulnerable. Society see her as vulnerable. Vulnerable in so many ways. Financially, the widow is vulnerable. You know, in her mind, she's vulnerable. In so many ways, the widow is vulnerable because of the grief she's going through at that point in time. Even when she has healed somehow from that grief, the widow is still vulnerable because little things could even remind her of her late husband, and momentarily she lapses back into that grief. Okay? So these are the way the society sees a widow. And then for single moms, they are seen as easy praise, women of easy virtues. They are seen as not being submissive, and sometimes they are seen as too proud, especially if they are divorced or if they are not married. Okay? The society sees single motherhood as not good for the society. Okay? They see it as not good for the society because they think it's going to be an influence on upcoming girls. Okay? Divorcees most times are blamed for the breakup of their marriages. That's the single mom now. Nobody talks about the role of the man in the breakup of the marriage. Okay? Now, if you are never even married, you didn't marry at all, society sees you as irresponsible, promiscuous, or that you have too many sexual partners. These are the ways that society perceives both widows and single moms. But is that the case? That is not the case. It is not true. That is not the case. So no matter how the society sees you as a widow, no matter how the society sees me as a widow, no matter how the society sees the single mom, my sisters, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you see yourself. Yes, and how God Almighty sees you. Yes, because nobody can stop the hands of death when it comes. And again, nobody knows the circumstance, the situation that led a woman to leave her marriage, or the situation that made her a single mom even when she's not unmarried. So like I keep saying, the society may perceive widows and single mom with their own lens of condemnation, but you perceive yourself with the lens of acknowledgement. Yes, the lizard that fell from the roof to the ground and begins to nod its head. What is it saying? If nobody acknowledges me, I am acknowledging myself. So, my dear sisters, even when nobody acknowledges you, acknowledge yourself, because it's not an easy road. Anyone that has not been through this way, through this path, that has not been through what you have been through, both as a single mom and as a widow, has no right to look at you with the lens of condemnation. God bless you, my sisters. Please like, share, comment, and follow me. God bless you.